Hey everyone. Let's see if I can move this chair up some. All right. I told you guys to come back here at 4 o'clock because I will be going live with a very close friend of mine. Her name is Sina. She's very familiar with fibroids because not only have she had them, but she also was a nurse. And it's interesting how you can know somebody for so many years and they're literally going through the same issues you're going through, but because there's no communication on that specific issue, both of you are kind of like up in the air about it. You don't even know. And it's funny how I was talking to her this morning and I knew she had fibroids, but now she enlightened me and told me a little, I guess, more detailed information on how she was pregnant with fibroids and cysts while she was pregnant with twins and the issues that she's going through right now as we speak. So I just seen her. I'm gonna take those off. This should be an interesting conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation we had with Dee earlier at 1 o'clock, but now we're gonna go live with Sina. Let's see, where are you, Sina? Just seen you say, there you are. All right. Howdy. Let's talk about your fibroids, girl, because I'm ready. All right.
Hey guys.
Hey, friend.
Hi.
How you doing, girl?
I'm good.
I'm glad you're going live with me. It seems like every time we talk about our situations with fibroids, you tell me something new, and I'm like, I didn't know you went through that.
I know, because like you said when I just chimed in, that's something that we don't talk about. We talk about everything under this.
Everything else, relationship issues, family issues. I mean, when it comes to our jobs, we'll talk about all of that. But when it comes to something as important as our health, especially when it comes to fibroids, that's basically 90% of African American women will catch some type of case of fibroids by the time they're 50. We don't talk about that.
We don't. We discussed it. We talked about that one time when I saw you log in. That was before you got pregnant.
Yep.
That was before your surgery.
Yes, it was. So tell me this. When you were pregnant with your twins, you told me today that not only did you have fibroids, but you had cysts as well.
I did. I had cysts as well. So the difference between, if you know, some of the watchers don't know, the difference between fibroids and cysts, and then the comparison between the two is that they're both small nodules that can grow larger. The difference between a fibroid is that it's more solid and a cyst is fluid filled. So that's the difference between them. And I had small cases of both of them during my twin pregnancy. I was very high risk. Once you hit over 35, you're high risk for pregnancy. You're especially high risk for twin pregnancy or any type of multiples. So I was already high risk in that aspect. So the fibroids and the cysts were being watched and monitored, but they were small at that time and they weren't bothering me. And you know, as you know, with fibroids, you never know if they're sometimes the cause of premature labor and stuff like that. Right. So I'm not sure. And I did have a premature birth with my twins, but it was never categorized as like the cause of me going into labor at 27 weeks with the girls.
And how big were they when they were delivered?
So at 27 weeks, when I went into labor, I went into the hospital for 3 weeks and they had me on steroids to, you know, strengthen their organs, mainly their lungs when they give you the steroids while you're pregnant.
They gave me that too for
just to strengthen their lungs and stuff like that so they can breathe on their own when they come out. Especially if they're going to come out and the doctor has an inclination that they're going to come out premature. So lo and behold, I lasted by being on bed rest in the hospital. I lasted 3 weeks. So that was still 10 weeks premature. They were both 1 pound, 9 ounces.
I didn't know they were that little.
Yeah. I thought 1 pound, 9 ounces and 2 pounds, 3 ounces. Very
they were tiny. Like
tiny
in your hand,
girl. Very scary, very tiny. So yeah, they were in a NICU for a while, over a month.
With the fibroids and the cysts, do you remove them both the same way with a myomectomy, or?
Well, the myomectomy is strictly used in fibroid surgery because it's a little more invasive because, like I said, they're harder nodules. So when they get into your lining, it's a different procedure to remove them. Whereas when you have cysts, a lot of times they can go in with what they call a laparoscopic type of surgery where they'll go through your belly button the same way endoscopy going through your belly button, but the procedure is a little different. It's more like they're busting a pimple per se, and it's a different procedure.
So they're like removing the fluid, and they kind of go down and.
Correct. And sometimes with cysts, the fluid dissolves on its own, and that happens a lot in pregnancies. A lot of women that experience cysts during pregnancy, they decrease in size, they get smaller, and sometimes they totally go away. And that is what happened with mine. My cysts totally kind of like resolved on their own. They just went away, but my fibroids didn't. So now the twins.
Do you have fibroids now?
I do. So the twins are 8 now, and those small little fibroids that we kind of were just watching at that time have now in the last year increased from a strawberry size, like around 2 to 3 centimeters, and now they're lime size going into orange size. So now we're on like a whole nother topic of conversation because I have 3 of them. Okay. And they
Why do you think they've been growing so rapidly in the past year?
In the past year. So that's why she's very interested to know that right now, why am I? She thinks it has a lot to do with, a lot of women don't know, that a lot of our fibroids and stuff are exacerbated per se by hormones. And my hormones are all over the place. So the more increased estrogen you have, the more aggressive that the fibroid pain and the growth.
Well, yeah,
that's what they think.
I was advised to stay away from foods high in estrogen because the fibroids feed off that. So I was told that. But it just seems like there's no direct answer. It's kind of like
they don't know.
Game,
they don't know where it comes from. So if you don't know where they come from in medicine, with all the research, that's why these USA Fibroid Center